So today is November the 14th, and I'm starting just by showing the answers for last night's homework. The reason is we're doing all equations. They all have equal signs, and just kind of showing a few things. We talked about that they have to be written this way. We have to copy the problem. We have to have the opposite math, showing what the variable equals, checking it, all three steps. So all of our answers are kind of like, or all the problems have 6 steps, okay? Now, I'm just kind of showing it in case I had a few kids who were going to try to work a few tonight, see if they could get them better, clean them up a little bit. Okay. And we are going to start multiplying and dividing equations. Honestly, it is the same thing. That's the cool part about it. In fact, the first sentence on the top is the same. Okay, give me a second. Here we go. So, for today's notes, or whatever you want to call this, it is the same thing. To solve an equation, what do we do with the variable? What was the fancy word? Do you remember? Yesterday, it's on the notes. Started with an I. Weird word. What?
Isolate?
Yes! Isolate. Okay, I know it's weird. Isolate. We're going to isolate. Such a fancy word. Okay. Isolate our variable, meaning we're going to bring it off by itself. Let me start over. To solve an equation, isolate the variable by doing the opposite. Okay, so yesterday, if it was add, we did subtract. If it was subtract, we did add. Today we're going to do multiply and divide. So if we see multiply, we're going to do divide. If we see divide, we're going to do multiply. Okay, the biggest part about this is, y'all know how to multiply, you know how to divide. The biggest part of this is going to be, can you write it right? So I really need you to not go ahead of me on these first few examples and just write them, okay? And I'm going to jump around, so don't flip out yet. Here we go. So look at the first one. When I find my good pen. Okay, look at the first one. If you read that thing, it says P divided by 15 equals 9. I need you to kind of grow up in the 6th grade world and listen. That is a fraction bar. That doesn't mean half a pizza anymore. It is a divider bar. It means P divided by 15. Listen, just like if it's 1/2, it's 1 divided by 2, and it equals 0.5. Okay? Listen, that means divided by. Our brain has got to start looking at that as a divided by sign. So if P is divided by 15, we know that our goal is to get P all by itself, just like yesterday. It's kind of like there's this magic line right here, and we need to get it all by itself. So, listen, this is just like yesterday. I asked the question, what is with the P that we want to get rid of? A 15. What kind of 15? Divided by. So what is the opposite of divided by? Multiply. This is the weird part. Okay, when you write this, you write it with parentheses. And I wish that problem number was not as close, but it is, so we're going to deal with it. That means times 15. So we're going to put multiplied by 15, multiplied by 15. That's how we show that we're multiplying. Okay. Now, I want you to think about this. It's kind of weird. That 15 right here is kind of like a 15 over 1. That 15's on the bottom. So I want your mind just to kind of think about this. We got two 15s. We slide them on top of each other. What is 15 divided by 15? 1. What is 1 times P? P. So these get to disappear because they basically turn into ones. That is how we get left with that cute little p. Our solution or our answer is going to come from the other side. The 9 times 15. So 9 times 5 is 45. 10, 11, 12, 13. And I get, I literally multiplied that out and I get 135. I literally did 9 times 15 to get the answer. The steps are no different than yesterday. It's just now we're going to be doing multiply and divide. Okay, so let's look at number 2. So our problem is, or our equation says y divided by 17 equals 10. So what's our variable? Y. What is with the y that we want to get rid of? 17. What kind of 17? Division of 17. What's the opposite? Multiply. So we're going to multiply times 17 on each side. These two match, so they get to kind of go away, leaving me with a y equaling 170. There you go. You're just always doing the opposite. Okay, I'm going to do one more and then we'll start checking them in a minute. We're not checking yet. I'm just trying to get your brain wrapped around it. Okay, look at number 3. B divided by 12 equals 15. So what should we do? Times what?
12.
By 12, yes, because we want to get rid of the 12. So we're going to multiply both sides times 12. Okay, listen, this is part of the math world we don't know without some scratch paper. Don't be scared of scratch paper. Listen, right here, jot it off on the side, 15 times 12. Okay, and I'm sitting here working it out. 2 times 5 is 10. I get a 3. I put a placeholder. And I get 180. So, right over here, B equals 180. Listen, you can leave that. If it's, there's enough space there that I can see the work, that's just scratch work, just leave it. It's fine.
Sorry to interrupt.
You're fine.
Are you on the select few that Willis is doing?
No, I'm doing all of them.
Okay.
But we usually have been doing that many in class.
Okay. Well,
And it might be
I'm just going to limit his.
That's fine.
Limit.
That's fine.
Okay.
No baby. No baby. So now, we're going to do one with checking it, but I don't need you to flip out. Listen. Look at something. Do you see how B and Y and P have always been on the left side? It don't matter. It does not matter what side it's on. Listen. Look at down here at number 4. So now we're going to do one and we're going to check it. Okay? So, we've got R is our variable. So with the R is divided by 5. The opposite is...
I'll put that in this folder.
Sweet.
Will you just make sure he gets it?
Yes.
When you press it?
Yes, yes. So, the opposite is times 5. Okay, now, and I wish that problem number wasn't so close, but I'm doing the best I can. Okay, these get to go away, leaving me with just a R. I'll have to get new glasses here. That's an R, supposedly. Okay, you may have to jot that on the corner of your paper. 4.7 times 5. Listen, we got to remember what we learned about, multiplying decimals. So 7 times 5, 35. 20 plus 3, 23. Where should my decimal be? Yes. Listen, one number behind the decimal, one number behind the decimal. Now, this is the hard part because you got to go back and remember stuff about fractions and decimals. Now, that is the math problem. Now we got to get into the checking part of it. Excuse me. Of course I get the hiccups. Now, okay, to check it, it is the same steps as yesterday. Okay, I'm going to write the problem. And it is R over 5, okay? Now I'm going to fill it in. Over here, I said R was 23.5. So I'm going to put 23.5 over 5. Okay. Now, looks kind of scary, but listen. Do you see how they're working with decimals there? 23.5. So when we go in to do this thing, we need to spit out some decimals, okay? I'm going to kind of jot it on the bottom here so y'all can see it at the same time. But we shouldn't just assume it's 4.7. We need to really honestly, if you want to make a 100, check it and make sure. 23.5 divided by 5. Okay, 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, and that's 0. Bring up that decimal. So is it 4.7? Yes. This side was 4.7, so I'm good to go. Okay. So if you really want a good grade, you can check every one and make 100. Okay. Same thing with these decimals on 5 and 6. Kind of go down to the next one. On example 2, we are now looking at, down here at number 7, 15s equals 120. Listen, 15s bumped up against each other. What does that mean?
Multiply.
Multiply. Listen, bumped up against each other means multiply. What is the opposite of multiply?
Divide.
Divide. So, look at how I show this. Once again, no more divide signs. Listen, you got to show it using a fraction bar. Yep, just like we did up here, like we talked about up here. This means divided by. Well, 15 divided by 15 is 1, and 1 times s is s. But what we do to one side, we got to do to the other. That's the side we're going to get our answer from, I guess, the solution. Whoops, sorry. So, 120 divided by 15 is 8. It is 8. Okay. Now, these are kind of easier to check because the steps are just a little faster. So I'm going to write the problem. Okay, my S down here was an 8. Now look, here's the weird part. Either put a dot or parentheses. We're really trying to get you into the higher algebra world. No time sign. Okay? I can multiply that out. 8 times 5 is 40. Carry a 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. Whoop, it's the same thing on both sides. And I've literally checked it. If you need to check it with scratch paper, check it. It's kind of like, it's very redundant, and I've said this in every class, repetitive, whatever you want to call this. It is the same thing over and over. As you add more steps is when it gets more kind of interesting, I guess. It's kind of like order of operations. When we were doing order of operations, like 1 or 2 steps, you're like, woohoo, yay, this is no fun. But then when we started adding a lot of stuff and you're trying to figure out what do you do first, second, third, it gets a little bit better. Okay? So let's do this one. I want to show you number 9. Okay. Don't let number 9 scare you. Here we go. Listen. Okay. It is 5/6 K equals 1/6. 5/6 times K. The opposite is divide. So look, this is weird. We're going to write it like this. Divided by 5/6 divided by 5/6. That means divided by that little bar there, that fraction bar. Now look, these two get to disappear, leaving me with just a K. But I need you to kind of slow down, because I taught you how to do this like a month ago, okay? Think about what it's asking you. It is asking you what is 1/6 divided by 5/6. So, if I kind of go up here, I'm going to kind of cheat and use this part of the paper up here as my scratch paper. I want you to kind of see. If I write that like I taught you a month or two ago, dig back in your brain. What did we do with division problems that had fractions? Keep, change, flip. We know how to do this. We just got to think about it. So, if we keep 1/6, change to multiply, and flip that thing over to 6/5, okay, now we get to multiply straight across. We get 6 over 30, and 6 goes into 6 once, 6 goes into that 5. So look, K is 1/5. That is that answer. Listen, if you multiply 1/5 times 5/6 and simplify it, you'll get 1/6. You can check it. Like it's not, you can do it. Okay? This is what I want to do. Flip it over on the back. Okay? I'm going to do a few with you. Here we go. Okay, and I'm going to start on this left side, just doing a few. Okay. So 3a equals 18. And this is your actual homework, so here we go. 3a equals 18. That means 3 times a. What's the opposite? Divide, okay? So if I divide by 3 on this side, I divide by 3 on this side. These 3's get to go away, leaving me with a equaling 6. That is right. Put a little box around that. You see it so far? Everybody good? Okay. Now we're just going to go over here to check it. We're going to write the problem. This is the part that's gotten a few people. Listen, when you are filling in this a right here, this variable, look over here and see what you wrote. That's why I keep trying to change color, but listen, you told me a was 6. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put a 6 right there. Okay? Then I'm going to copy the rest of the problem. And then I'm going to kind of evaluate, what is 3 times 6? Well, it's 18. Is that side 18? Yes. I'm good to go. Listen, that is an example of the multiply that you got to divide to get the answer. You should be able to look at it and figure out how to do it later. Quit packing up. We got another one. Here we go. Look at this one. 4 equals f divided by 3. Okay, divided by 3. The opposite is? Multiply. Yep, so write it in parentheses. You should be writing this with me. This is why half of you don't have half your work. I need you writing this. These 2 3's go away, leaving me with an F. And 4 times 3 is 12. I'm going to box in that because that's my official answer. Now, I'm going to go over here and rewrite it. F over 3. I said F was 12, so I'm putting a 12 there. And I'm sitting here doing 12 divided by 3 is 4. And that side's 4, so I must be good to go. Listen, you now have an example of both styles in the cute little boxes of the homework world. Finish this thing. Finish it. Here is the actual page, if anybody's at home needing it. And the bottom one. Thank you. Quit worrying about one another. We'll make it.